Hi folks, John with the Wingman115 channel coming at you with another Gauntlet review today. Today's Gauntlet review is on a knife from BlackFeather Knives. It is the Blacklore. Now, this is a Bushlore clone, and BlackFeather Knives is a small little independent cottage industry knife maker out of Virginia. So they decided to put a knife into the Gauntlet. It's going to make the rounds. You can follow this knife at thegauntlet.tv as it's going to make its way through the different YouTube channels. So without further ado, come along. We're going to do a quick tabletop specs rundown. We'll do some practical application. And as always, I'll come back and give you some final thoughts on this blade. You're not going to want to miss it, folks. Come along. Alright, for the first round of testing on the Blacklore knife, we're going to test out this 90-degree spine to see how well it's going to scrape, because a lot of bushcrafters are doing tasks that require them to scrape either tinder or you're making a campcraft project and you're trying to smooth it out. So let's see on a piece of rough side of this. Oh yeah, it's doing a good job. And let's see if I can smooth this out real quick. So you're making that nice little dust right there. So if you had fat wood, you would be in Fat City on your way to making a fire with that. Now let's try doing some feather sticks. Let's pick a side here and see how well. Now I'm a big fan of a Scandivex grind. I think for me, personal preference, it's one of the better grinds out there, especially in the outdoors, bushcraft, campcraft genre. And this one is no exception. Now, the 01 tool steel, I did not sharpen this knife. All I did was put it on my strop because I got it from another Gauntlet reviewer. And it was sharp. I just wanted to touch it up just a little bit, just to give it that little extra oomph while we were out here. So here's just a little example of making some feathers with this blade. Now, one thing that I really like is the feel of this handle. I love, and I'll show you that Coke bottle design right there. BlackFeather Knives did an awesome job when they profiled this handle out. It has just enough palm swell to where my hand feels really secure in there. Now, I've been playing with this knife for a while, the past couple weeks, at home in the backyard, and I've been doing some whittling tasks, and I've had no hand fatigue at all with this blade. I also like the fact that there's a little bit of a chamfer right on the front of these scales. So if you're holding your blade, knife fits really secure right there. Just does a good job. We'll see how well. Stick it in here and then so if I had to do some tasks, just process and generate some tinder. Just does a great job. And I'm really liking this 01 tool steel. One, it just holds an edge really well. Just a beautiful blade. Let's see how well it's going to do chopping now. In its defense, these limbs are tough. They've been sitting out here and they've survived a forest fire. So let's see how well it's going to work. Saying I had to do a tent stake or I had to sharpen a point on a stick to make some sort of camp tool. Doing a really good job. And as I'm cutting, my hand feels really secure. And that's part of the pommel having a little bit of a sweep coming down. Now, one thing I would like to see them do is put a bigger hole in the back of this blade, because regular size paracord is really hard to fit through there. I wanted to put a lanyard on this knife before I brought it out, and maybe if I took a coat hanger or something and really fished that paracord through, but it should have a bigger diameter piece of tubing going through there. That way that knife doesn't interfere with the cordage on there, because you could get the cordage could fray and have all sorts of problems. So just a little bit bigger tube for a hole in the back part of the pommel of the blade. But look how beautiful that white linen micarta looks with those red liners. It's just beautiful, almost like a piece of art. When I first got it in the mail, I was like, oh my gosh, this is one beautiful blade. And it's hefty too. It's not some light blade, but it's very well balanced, and it just feels really good in the hand. Let me try cutting with this on this old piece of pine limb. There's only so many tasks I can do with this for you guys. You guys seen me carve many spoons and stuff on a lot of other knife reviews. But after playing with this knife for the past couple weeks, I must say that this is a very good feeling knife. And it's all about how the knife feels. You know, you can be a fan of how a knife looks all you want. And I've been a fan of that in some of my knife reviews that I've done, where the knife just looks awesome, but the knife doesn't feel good in your hand. And if it doesn't feel good while you're using it, then you're not going to use it, or you're not going to use it correctly. And the chance of you getting hurt, i.e. getting cut really bad, especially out here in the woods, that risk goes up tenfold. So to mitigate that, what you do is you get a knife that is ergonomically correct for your body. Now, I can't say that this knife is the next best thing to hot buttered toast for you with this design, but for me, this knife with the palm swell in the handle and that Coke bottle design, it fits really well in my medium-sized hands. If you have large, extra large, or very small hands, well, your mileage may vary. But if you have a medium-sized hand like I do, I think you're really going to like this design. And there's really no rough edges, no hot spots. Just feels really well. I can't say enough good things about the handle on this blade. Now, we're in a high drought situation, so we're not going to go crazy town with making fire out here, because the risk of forest fire is really huge. But I will strike a ferro rod a couple times just to see how well it does. And as I was scraping the wood, it did a very good job. So on this ferro rod, I have no problem with this blade. Doing a great job. Put a really nice sharp spine on this Blacklore knife. Now, if you use that a lot, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have to come back and touch this up, but you're going to get a lot of use out of the top of this spine. Great job. Now for some final thoughts on the BlackFeather Knife's Blacklore knife. First off, let's start with the sheath. It's your classic traditional dangler sheath. I really like the stitching on this sheath. A really nice welt. You have a spot for a fire steel, spot on. If you're a fan of a dangler design, you're going to like this. Now, as a sidebar note, get a little bit of Loctite and Loctite that Chicago bolt that's in there. You do not want to go out in the woods and lose your favorite knife out here in the bush. You'll never find it out here. Now, let's talk about the knife in general. I'm a big fan of O1 tool steel. I love the Bushlore design, and this is spot on. I'm a big fan of the Scandivex grind. Works really well for what I do out here in my neck of the woods. What I'm really a big fan of are the Coke bottle handles. Now, these white linen micarta is just beautiful with the red liners. Just an awesome set of handles. My only critique, and I said it before, I'm not going to beat a dead horse, is that I would like to see a little bit wider opening in the back to put your favorite lanyard or to put a piece of rawhide through there. That's not a deal breaker. For me, it's all about the feel of the blade. If the blade doesn't feel good in your hand, you're not going to use it, one, correctly, or you're not going to use it at all. And if you're going to spend a lot of money on a blade, especially a cottage industry, one-off custom blade, then it better be spot on. For me, in my hand, I have a medium-sized hand. This Coke bottle design fits perfect. Just enough palm swell and just enough cutout in the front and near the pommel of this blade to hook in my pinky finger and my index finger, and then the fat, meaty part of my hand just fits in there nice and neat. So that's just a win for me. If you have an extra large hand or a really small hand, your mileage may vary. But if you're the medium to large style hand, then this might be a really good fit for you. Now, you want to know about a rating on this blade. Well, we only give 2 ratings in the Gauntlet. It's either a thumbs up or a thumbs down. That's it. On this blade, for everything that it does, the fit, the finish, the feel, the design, the handle, everything, the sheath, I have to give it a thumbs up. It passed the test. Now, if you want to follow this knife along in the Gauntlet, I highly recommend that you go out and check out our website. It's www.thegauntlet.tv. It lists all your favorite Gauntlet reviewers and all your favorite pieces of kit, such as this knife, which will be posted up there for your viewing pleasure. Now, this knife is going to go on to another Gauntlet member. I'll put their link in the description below, so you're going to want to follow this knife as it makes its way through the Gauntlet. Folks, this is John with the Wingman115 channel. For the Gauntlet, I thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you on another Gauntlet video soon. Take care, folks.